The Joint Task Force Northwest Operation of Fansan Yamma has dismissed claims that its airstrikes in Sokoto State killed civilians, insisting the targets were terrorist associates. Reports earlier alleged that military jets mistakenly struck 2 communities in Silame Local Government Area, killing 10 civilians. Sokoto State Governor's Press Secretary Bubakar Bawa confirmed civilian casualties. However, Joint Task Force spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Abdullahi Abubakar stated the strikes in Gidon Sama and Rumtua were based on precise intelligence targeting the Lakurawa terrorist group. He emphasized the military's rigorous recognizance to ensure civilian safety and urged the public to rely on verified information to prevent panic and misinformation. Well, to discuss this, I am being joined now by Public Affairs Analyst and one who surely has been following this story very closely. Mr. Jide Ojo joins me this morning. Thank you for being here. Let's go straight into it. What was your immediate reaction when you saw this? It seems like it's a repetition of what we saw just a few months back and what we also saw in President Muhammadu Buhari's tenure, especially looking at the fact that Sokoto Airstrikes and its attendant fallout about claims of civilian casualties is here back and forth. First of all, what was your reaction?
My reaction is, I think we need to exercise caution, not to demoralize Nigerian military. If they said they had precise intelligence and they acted on that intelligence, I want to give them benefit of doubt. In the Kaduna case that happened recently, they admitted that it was an error. The one that happened in Iran, in Borno State, they admitted that it was an error. But this particular one, they said the communities, the 2 communities were actually very close to the forest where the Lakurawa terrorists were hibernating. And in as well as this is not a conventional warfare, where you will say, like you see people in military camouflage, the war that was fought between 1967 and 1970 in Nigeria, the Nigerian Civil War, you know who is a Biafran soldier, you know who is a Nigerian soldier in those 3 years. But this is not a conventional war. This is more like a guerrilla warfare. And because the Lakurawa adherents or those who belong to the Lakurawa sect, they do not wear uniform. They are like ordinary civilians. So it might be very difficult to know who is a sympathizer or a member of Lakurawa and who is not. And this is airstrike. Airstrike, unlike if you are doing infantry attack in which you are on ground, you may know who, or maybe from intelligence they can say, oh, that is where their house is and all of that. But when you are making airstrike, it might be very difficult to precisely target those that you want to take out, because some of them are in the forest. You may not be able to see clearly from the air those who are under the groves. But by and large, I think the military, rather than just deny, should conduct an investigation. And if it happens to have erred, as some people in Sokoto have said, that these are innocent Nigerians, then it needs to apologize and compensate the victims. But I can tell you that it's a very difficult operation to distinguish between terrorists who are not in uniform, who sometimes mingle with the ordinary innocent citizens, or even use innocent people as shields to prevent attack on them. It's very difficult, and we, the larger populace, are the one that will be condemning that the administration is not doing enough to secure us. So it's a very dicey catch-22 situation to really fish out those who belong to the Lakurawa sect, because you can't even by color of skin determine who is a member of Lakurawa. You can't determine who is a member of Lakurawa by their mode of dressing. You can't determine by speech. You can't determine by any other thing, except you have studied them sufficiently enough. And like I said, they live in communities, in human, innocent communities. And that might make it very difficult for the Air Force or the military to have a precise attack. So what I believe happened in Sokoto, the unfortunate incident, is more like a collateral damage, which sometimes is inevitable in a asymmetric warfare.
All right.
Currently going on in Nigeria.
Mr. Ojo, let's also look at the potential consequences that this would have, especially on public trust. And I'd like you to speak on that, the public trust concerning the military and the civilians. We'd also like to look at the aspect of communication in terms of speedy communication when such news hits the airwaves or is being passed or circulated, especially in this case. You did have indigents in that area who came out to speak quickly, especially to the press. What do you think the military could have done? So let's talk about the military's response to information being shared very quickly, and then also look at public trust between the military and, of course, the civilians.
Well, over the years, there have been attempts at improving the civil-military relations. In fact, there is a course in political science that deals with civil-military relations. And I think Nigerian military has been welcoming of having improved trust and confidence in the Nigerian public, because without the Nigerian public, they cannot succeed in this asymmetric warfare. People must volunteer information. There must be informants who are ready to blow whistle on the locations of these, the enemies, as I may want to call them. But, you know, as I said, what should the military have done? The military cannot run to the press the way the ordinary citizens will run to the press. Whereby, you know, it's not the people on the field, it's not the people who went to conduct the attack that will be addressing the press. It is the whoever has been appointed as the spokesperson. And in that period, the person who was going to speak to the press must have incontrovertible evidence to base his press statement on. So you cannot expect the military to just be running their mouth when they do not have the on-the-spot assessment and field report on what actually happened. So that may have been why the military was not very prompt, because it needs to get information from those who conducted the attack, whether it's a air raid or airstrike, or whether it's the infantry division that did it, as to be able to ascertain, was there an error in this, or these people who are eliminated were actually members or loyalists or adherents of the Lakurawa sect. So, as I've said in time past, if you go back to what happened recently in Kaduna, where a community, I've forgotten the name, was mistakenly attacked, the military owned up to say, oh, it was an error on our part. In the one that happened in Iran, in Borno State, they admitted that it was an unfortunate incident. And I don't know whether they compensated the families of the victims. But most importantly, as I've said, the military should, more so now that information is coming out from the people in the community, to say, the people you have killed are innocent and they are not even members of the Lakurawa sect. It is for the military to now set up an inquiry to find out what actually happened. And if that inquiry now shows that it was the military was mistaken, that it was an unfortunate and regrettable action, then there should be compensation to the family of the deceased and those who may have been injured in this. That would be my own take.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts, especially on this story. Thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day.